I get it. The Yakuza series is scary. There's like 8 of them. That's a lot of Yakuza. From Yakuza 3 onwards, they're all 50 hours plus. And let's not even mention the best spin-offs you'll never play, just for convenience sake. Then there's this slab of man, making you wonder if heterosexuality's all it's cracked up to be. Well boy, have I got a game for you. Hey, how's it going? You'll have to tell me how you ended up here sometime. Judgment came out in 2019 for us Westerners on the PlayStation 4. And to no one's surprise, it hits it out of the park into the next goddamn city. Mechanically complex and engaging beat-em-up combat with a hefty enough skill tree to carry the lengthy campaign. Check. Activity dense, immersive open district design that cuts down on traversal downtime. Checkity check. Adrenaline pumping, heart wrenching crime thriller story with plenty of twists and turns with an epic boss fight to wrap it all up. Hot check. Formula refined. Mwah. Chef's kiss. But it was a bumpy road to get here. After 2012's Yakuza 5, we ditched the 7th gen framework, and with the release of the 6th main title, Song of Life, we got the Dragon Engine. Now the iconic to the series red light district of Kamurocho, and other various districts, are finally rendered in modern glory, with new effects and lighting, with a new combat system that only the raw power of the 8th gen could have provided. Or at least it tried to. This new level of graphical fidelity did come at a cost. And that's right, boys and girls. We got 30 FPS and excessive motion blur. Poor old base PS4 was even rendering this out at a sub 1080 resolution. While we got those PC/next gen ports of the games now, that wasn't the case for some time. It was long enough to miss what we lost. Despite the technical shortcomings, this wasn't the most egregious thing to come out of those early Dragon Engine days. Before the jump to the Dragon Engine, the Yakuza series was really just beginning to take things to the next level. We had multiple large playable open districts, multiple playable protagonists with lengthy campaigns each, and on top of that, we had style switching in combat. It felt like Yakuza's combat was starting to meet the same standards as other action titles that set those standards so long ago, with elements such as that open district and lengthy gripping narratives as icing on top of the mechanical cake. And that's why Judgment is the perfect starting point for newcomers to dive into the Yakuza-verse. Judgment feels like the first game made for, and that can fully realize the power of the Dragon Engine, the title to finally iron out those new engine kinks. Combat, while still somewhat flip-floppy feeling, is a lot more responsive and fluid. And style switching's back, baby! Meaning tactics and playstyle can be adjusted with a button press. The title, as I hinted before, is that signature Yakuza formula, but refined over many iterations. But where I feel newcomers will feel most at home is the story, and the driver of that story, the new protagonist. Dead Yakuza have started turning up in the streets by the dozen like a plague. The pattern? They've all mysteriously had their eyes gouged out, a calling card from a true monster. The cure? Smooth operator, disgraced ex-defense lawyer, and current not-so-disgraced detective Takayuki Yagami. Now, Yagami's a little more of the stereotypical good guy. Kiryu often demonstrates he's a pretty virtuous dude too, but you do have to kinda get over the overtone that he's an ex-criminal solving his problems by beating up current criminals, and that he spends most of his main saga actively preserving the livelihood of a large crime family that has, on more than one occasion, tried to actively screw him over. Sure, there's layers of complexity and context to Kiryu's story. And I'm not saying a protagonist has to be inherently good to be relatable or interesting. I would think the No More Heroes franchise is an easy testament to that. I am saying Yagami and his inherently more black and white conflict might just be a little bit easier to digest and get behind, not only to the larger gaming audience, but also to those who are outsiders to the medium of video games, or maybe even as broad as Japanese media itself. What makes the title even more accessible to newcomers is that Judgment features an excellent English dub, in addition to the original Japanese dub. It's a long title, bro. Sometimes it's nice to have the story delivered to your ears instead of sucked in by your eyeballs. Yagami also reframes and recontextualizes the Yakuza formula, and offers a fresh perspective on the, by now, all too familiar world of Kamurocho. Not through necessarily any new groundbreaking mechanics, but because of the kind of person he is framed in the story to be. Due to a critical mistake from his time as a lawyer that literally cost lives, Yagami now spends his days as a detective for hire, aiding his old law office in casework, in a way making the pursuit of truth his job and his mantra. Despite the larger story presenting as a black and white conflict, with our protag literally on one side of the law and the baddies on the other, Yagami's struggle is not without nuance and a few cheeky grey zones. While Kiryu's first line of questioning is usually his hands, Yagami at least attempts to reason with the thugs that get in his way. And if they're gonna obstruct justice, well, that's when we're gonna have to dispense a little of our own. Story deals with themes of justice, corruption, and regret, and features an insane amount of narrative twists and turns. This crime thriller epic has got it all. It's not a good video game story. It's just a great story and a great video game. I'd really love to dissect and delve further into the game and its themes with you, but then I'd just be spoiling it for you. The point of this video is to get you to play the video game. And if you like what you've heard here, well, there's a sequel that ups the ante in every way possible. So what are you waiting for? Still, you haven't played Judgment yet? You can't sit here